Hello, my friend. Welcome back to the Transform Your Life podcast. Today, we are talking about one of the biggest hidden blocks I see in women and men, but especially the ones who struggle with clutter, perfectionism, and overthinking. And that's the fear of judgment. You might think that your clutter, procrastination, or hesitation to start things comes from a lack of motivation or time, but beneath it all is usually one quiet fear, and that's what will people think. And if this lands with you right now, then this episode is definitely for you. So the fear of judgment isn't something that you're born with. Actually, we're only born with two fears, the fear of loud noises and the fear of falling. So everything else is merely conditioned and learned. And fear of judgment is definitely one of those conditioned fears. When you're young, love and approval often comes with conditions. Unfortunately, be a good girl. Don't make a mess. Make me proud. Do what I say and you'll get a star. And somewhere along the line, your nervous system learned that being accepted equals being safe. And being loved is obviously being safe as well. In order to be loved, sometimes, unfortunately, it has come with conditions. So as adults, we're still scanning for approval without actually realizing it. Our brains link judgment with rejection and rejection with danger. And that's why it feels so intense when you imagine someone walking into your home and seeing clutter, even though you know it's not life or death, your brain still thinks, if they judge me, I'm unsafe. The problem is the fear doesn't stop you from decluttering. It stops you from living fully. I was working with a client recently and she wanted to clear out her pots and pan drawer. And I asked her, apart from the obvious reason as to having too many pots and pans for two people, I asked her, why does it matter to you so much to clear out your pots and pans? And she said, because my children judge me. And I stopped just to give her the space to say that out loud. And I asked her, why does the fear of your children judging you matter to you so much? And she didn't have an answer. She just said, I don't know. And this is one reason why I love working with clients so much is that I get to not only help them clear out the clutter in their home, but realize that the clutter is there for a reason. And the fears of judgment, of rejection, of not being approved of is all wrapped up in that. And so this client wants me to help her clear out the clutter from her home so that when she has her family over for Christmas dinner, that they won't judge her. And as she opens up certain drawers, she says, oh, my family might see this drawer, we should clean it up. My family might see this part of the pantry, we should clean it up. And when she started cleaning it up, she was wondering, will my husband notice? And when he didn't give the reaction she was looking for, she had to remind herself that she's doing it for her. Now, does she believe that or not? I'm not entirely sure that she believes it yet. However, we will get to a point where she knows that she's doing this for her. Because if she didn't, she wouldn't have called me. If not one part of her wanted to do this for her, then she wouldn't have called. Because she wouldn't have felt ready. And so what my job is as a professional home organizer, declutter expert, life coach, etc., whatever you want to call me, is to help people feel safe in their nervous system and to help you change the thoughts and belief patterns that are going on in your mind and help you change the lens through which you see your world so that you see your world differently. The world isn't changing. It's you who's changing the way that you see the world. And that's what I love to help people do through neurolinguistic programming, through hypnosis, through just talking to one another, through asking questions, through helping people let go so that they can let in. She was saying often how she wanted to paint and do art and read books and relax more. So I asked a few questions. I said, what's stopping you from relaxing now? She's, well, I don't have time. I'm like, have you ever been the type of person who stops and relaxes? She's like, no, not really. And so I asked, why do you think that it's the clutter that's stopping you from relaxing? She said, I don't know. And I said, what's stopping you from painting now? She's like, it's the clutter. I'm like, what would happen if you stopped and picked up a paintbrush right now and started painting? She said, I don't know. And so what I think a lot of times is a lot of people don't take the time to ask themselves those questions and sit and wait for the answer. When the answer doesn't come, they scramble, they worry, they stress, they fear. The fear of judgment, the fear of rejection, the fear of abandonment, the fear of not being loved. So I'm going to challenge that client today after I finish recording this episode to pick up the paintbrush today and start painting, because the clutter in the home is not what's actually stopping her from picking up the paintbrush. It's something deeper. And the only way we're going to uncover that is through conversation and through actually doing the thing. And if she still feels she can't pick up the paintbrush, I will then ask more questions as to why not. Part of me feels that if she has judgment, fear of judgment for her pots and pans drawer, she might have fear of judgment around her painting, around relaxing, around sitting and reading a book as well. So if this is you, keep listening. So let's do a little quick check-in exercise together. I want you to notice your gut reaction when you hear these following questions. 1, when someone drops by unannounced, do you panic and apologize for the mess? Do you stop yourself from posting something online because you're worried what people might think? Or do you post pictures on social media without applying a filter? Do you clean or hide things before company comes, not because you want order, but because you don't want to be seen? Do you ever judge yourself before anyone else even gets a chance to? If you said yes to one of those, you're not alone. That's fear judgment showing up, quietly steering your choices. If you fear speaking up or speaking out, stating your opinion, stating your emotions, doing the things that you actually want to do, perhaps it's because you have the fear of judgment. It's sneaky because it disguises itself as standard, as being organized, of not wanting to be a burden or a messy person. But really, it's about the fear of being seen or less than. And the thing is, the fear of judgment is seriously costing you. Here's a hard truth. Fear of judgment costs you more than the cluttered rooms themselves. It costs you your peace, because your mind never stops spinning for replaying conversations, worrying about what others think, or trying to keep up with appearances. It costs you your connection, because you hold back from inviting people over, sharing your truth, or letting others see the real you. It costs you time and energy, because instead of moving forward, you're trapped in cycles of avoidance and overthinking. And if you're constantly trying to declutter and organize and clean your home at the thought of someone coming over, it's costing you that as well. It costs you joy because you're living for others' comfort and others' approval instead of your own freedom. When you stop living for judgment, your energy seriously shifts in the most profound way. You stop apologizing for your home, your emotions, your pace, your path, and the way that you live your life. You begin to see clutter differently, not as proof as failure, but as a mirror of what needs compassion. You start to ask your clutter, what are you showing me? You start looking at your clutter as to signs as to what's going on internally. And if you haven't already done so, I urge you to start looking at your clutter that way. That's what I talk about so often in Clear Home, Clear Mind, is your clutter is talking to you. You realize the fear was never about the stuff. The clutter was never about the stuff. It was about you wanting to feel safe being yourself. You wanted to be accepted. You didn't want to keep being judged. I feel like a big part of my business is a lot of people call me because they're cleaning up their space, because they want it to be suitable or presentable for other people. That's great because I'm able to help a lot of people and in turn they benefit. But how often do we stop and ask ourselves, what can I do for me? When you stop adjusting everything to avoid the fear of being judged, that's where real healing begins. And the thing is, we're not born having the fear of judgment, but we're born with this primal need to fit in with our tribe, because back in the day, thousands of years ago, what we needed to do in order to stay safe and alive was to stay a part of the tribe. If you were not the same as the tribe, you could get kicked out, you could be a lone wolf, and then that would decrease your chances of survival. And so in order to stay safe, you need to listen to your elders. You need to do what you're told. You need to be good. You need to do what's told of you, and you need to fit in like a chameleon. And so that's why so many people fear being judged, because if you are judged, you could potentially be rejected. And if you're potentially rejected, then that could be a detriment to your safety. And if you're not safe, you could die. And so your body is doing everything that it possibly can and that it thinks and believes that it needs to do in order to keep you safe. But these are outdated systems and it doesn't need to be this intense anymore. The great thing is you don't need to overhaul your whole life. You can start with small, gentle actions to retrain your brain to feel safe again. Here are a few ways to begin. Number one is to practice micro decluttering. Pick one drawer, one shelf, or one corner, and as you clear it, repeat this mantra. It's safe for me to be seen, and I'm doing this for me. It's safe for me to be seen, and I'm doing this for me. Because if, as you declutter your space, you know that you're doing it for you, then you know that it's not as a way to not be judged by others. You're doing it so that you can feel good. And that's why in Clear Home, Clear Mind, in the beginning of starting out, you really get clear on your why. Why do you want to declutter in the first place? Why do you want to organize your home in the first place? Why do you want to clear out the clutter in your mind and in your energy in the first place? Why does this matter to you? What are you hoping it will do for you? And what are the results that you're hoping to get from doing this? We're all taking actions because we believe it's going to give us a certain result. And so if you know what that result is and why it's important to you, then you're more likely to follow through on the action. This is the same. This is true for all areas of your life whenever you're setting out to do something. Another practice that you can do is notice your inner voice when judgment arises, yours or someone else's, because in the background of your mind, your mother's voice could be there, a teacher's voice, a sibling's voice, your father's voice, your husband's voice, whatever it is. Pause and ask yourself, what am I really afraid that they'll see? What am I really afraid that they will say about me? And why am I so afraid of what they might say about me? Is it because I feel like it's true? So really stop and ask yourself those questions. And then you can try a little reflecting each night. What did I do today that made me feel proud, even if no one saw it? I was working with a client recently and I was helping her with her chronic pain in her knees. And yes, I can help people with that through neurolinguistic programming, which is incredible because pain and weight in our body and all of that is really just clutter. It's excess things that we don't need in our life. And so as I was talking to her, she was talking about how in her job, she's constantly being the cheerleader for everyone else. And I know I need to be that cheerleader for myself, but I'm just not doing it. And so she's lacking that feeling of being seen, being loved, being celebrated. And the best person to do that is yourself, to yourself. And so going back to the decluttering of your space, if you're only doing that to get praise from, let's say, your children or your husband or someone else who comes over and you want them to say, oh, wow, your place is really nice. How organized, how clean, or well done, you did a great job. Then you're doing a disservice to yourself. Allow that to be a bonus to what you've already given and said to yourself versus allowing that to take precedence over how you feel after the work that you just did for yourself. These little steps will begin helping you rewire your nervous system to understand that you are safe even when you're seen. Because a lot of people have a fear of being seen. Because if I'm seen, I could be judged. And if I'm judged, I could be judged unfairly. I could be judged and people may not like me. But the thing is, too, the people who are judging you, they're really just revealing what's true about themselves. That's it. Perception is projection. And if you've been listening and thinking, oh boy, this really rings home for me. I'm ready to stop judging myself and finally clear the chaos in my home and in my mind for me and not for others. Then I want to invite you to join my Clear Home, Clear Mind membership. I haven't talked about it on the podcast up until now. It is brand new and I'm so excited. The 10 people who are already in it already are absolutely loving it and raving about it. Inside, you'll find short, bite-sized lessons to help you release physical and emotional clutter, one small doable step at a time. You'll learn how to declutter your space and your thoughts, rewire the patterns of fear and guilt, and you'll finally feel proud of your home and the life that you are creating. Because here's the truth, you don't need a perfect home to feel at peace. And for my clients out there, you don't need a perfect home to take a break guilt-free, to paint, to do your crafting, to go for a walk, to just stop and pause and go, oh, done enough. And you don't need to have a perfect space to feel loved either or to feel accepted. You just need to feel safe being yourself. Right now, you can actually join for $1. So you can download the app. I'll put all the links in show notes. You will download the app once you join, and the instructions are very simple. So you don't even have to write this down. You just have to click the link. You can get instant access to my guided trainings, exercises, and meditation to help you begin releasing judgment and clutter from the inside out. Listen, you deserve to feel free and not afraid. And letting go of the fear of judgment, especially your own, is one of the most powerful ways to reclaim your peace. If this episode spoke with you, please share it with someone who needs to hear it today and tag me on Instagram at _CassHenry so I can cheer you on. I hope to see you inside Clear Home, Clear Mind, because I guarantee it will absolutely help you in releasing the judgment in your home, in your mind, and that will be absolutely transformational for you in your life. So I'm sending you so much love and gratitude, and I cannot wait to hear about how this helped you. Okay, bye.